People came for the free food. Okay, no. you.
The discount.
The discount, that's right. And you get a discount, by the way. At the end of the day, that's one of my presents. I'm going to give you lots of presents because girls like what?
Girls like
presents. There you go, right? There you go. And so anything you buy today, at the end of the lecture, you're going to get 10%? 10%, right? 10% off your entire purchase. Whatever, you can buy the whole store is 10% off. So that's kind of a nice little present for you. So I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. What we're going to talk about today is how to be your own doctor. Now, I shouldn't give you this lecture. I'm going to put myself out of business. But I'm going to give it to you anyway. Because so many times, people come to my office and we give them chiropractic care. I'm a chiropractor. And they get chiropractic care, but I need them to help me. I need them to do something to facilitate their healing. And so I like to teach a lot of these tricks to my patients so that you can get better faster, which makes me look good. So I'm going to give you a lot of tips. This, probably now more than ever, this is not meant to be a political speech, but as we know, insurance rates are going up again. Insurance is covering less and less. Your deductibles are higher and higher. Your co-pays are higher and higher. And your premiums are higher and higher. So I don't know where all the money's going. It's not going to me. And you're spending it. So now more than ever, you really need to be your own doctor. You need to learn how to take control of your own health. Years past, you can rely on somebody else. I don't see that happening in any time in the near future, where you have the luxury. And we have a doctor shortage. We're in the middle of the doctor shortage. I think in the beginning of the doctor shortage, actually. Next 10 years, you're going to see substantially less doctors, according to predictions. What do they say? 35,000 less doctors in the next 10 years, 20 years, 10 years. 10 years now, yeah. So we're going to have a lot less doctors, we're going to have a lot higher premiums, and you got to figure out how to take care of yourself. So we're going to talk about how to take care of yourself. The one thing that you have total control over is your diet. You may have pinched nerves. You may have to come see me to get that fixed. You may work in an environment that's toxic. You might drive on the roads in Atlanta and get stuck in traffic and you're sucking down exhaust. You might not be able to control that. But you can control the one thing, and that's the food you put in your body. So we're going to talk about some tips on what you can do to keep your body healthy. The 7 deadly sins, the 7 foods I recommend you avoid, either cut back or cut out on, are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. And collectively, you all thought? That's everything. There you go. Right? That's what everybody eats. And especially now, we're kind of early on, but the holidays are coming up. And what do we do at the holidays? Every party you go to, you do what? Eat. You prepare food, you bring food, you eat food, you take home food, you store food, you try to eat the food before it goes bad, and you get ready to eat more food. And the problem is that most holiday foods are extremely toxic. You're killing yourself. And when is your immune system the weakest? In the winter. When do you do the most damage to your immune system? In the winter.
Halloween.
Halloween. That's right. There you go. And that's a good point. When does it start? It starts with Halloween. So what will happen is the week after Halloween, watch, everybody starts to get sick. You'll see it. Kids especially, if you have kids or if you're around kids. Kids are going to start. Then the adults are going to get sick. It's going to last for a while. People are going to start to get better. So about 2 weeks after Halloween, you see this disease process go on. Then what's next? Thanksgiving. There you go. And at Thanksgiving, I'm still fascinated with the concept of Thanksgiving, is that we eat as much as we humanly can. Sometimes to the point of throwing up. But you try to put as much in as you can before you puke. Why would you do that? And I'm always fascinated with any celebration. Whether it's a birthday or holiday or New Year's Eve or Christmas, we try to eat so much food when in reality we should be doing the exact opposite. We should not eat that day. Give your body a rest. The #1 consumer of energy we have as humans is romance. I'll keep it clean because we're being recorded here. Second consumer of energy is digestion. And we're all digesting all day, every day, right? We may not doing the former all day, every day, but we're certainly doing the latter all day, every day. And that digestion is taking up so much energy. And what happens is you have in your body something called the immune system. You may have heard of it. And what the immune system does, and there's certain organs in the immune system, your tonsils, your lymph glands, your spleen, your thymus, and these organs help produce white blood cells or teach other cells how to work better, and they fight off the bad guys. Well, the problem is this. We only have so many warriors, white blood cells, to fight off an attack. So if you're being bombarded with cold and flu viruses, and then you're being bombarded with bad diet, you're being bombarded with not enough sleep, and you're being bombarded with not enough vitamin D because the sun is at an angle, we're not getting UVB rays like we're supposed to, your immune system just can't fight every front. And then you get sick. So there are certain things you can do to keep your immune system strong. And the easiest thing you can do is not put junk in your body that the immune system has to fight off. So of the 7, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, when it comes to the immune system, what do you think is the worst? Sugar. What do we eat all day, every day, starting at Halloween and ending when we get the flu in January? Sugar and candy and cakes and donuts and breads and cookies and cakes and pastas. And these sugars get into the body. And white blood, my new book is coming out in a few weeks. And in the book I have a chapter in there and we talk about the immune system. And if you have a white blood cell, it can kill about 12 to 14 viruses, germs, bacteria before it dies. If you eat the equivalent of about a can of soda in sugar, that same white blood cell can kill 1 germ before it dies. So essentially, we're making your immune system 14 or 12 times weaker just because you wanted to have a cupcake or a donut or a soda or a margarita. So I want you to understand that every time you put sugar in your body from now until springtime, because that's when the vitamin D starts coming back with the sun, you are blowing out your immune system. So you have to ask yourself a simple question. Is it worth it? And to me, the answer's no. Is it tempting? Yeah. Because when you put sugar in your body, or any type of stimulant in your body, it stimulates a part of your brain called the nucleus accumbens. And the nucleus accumbens is the pleasure center of your brain. So if I were to do, and we've done studies on this, we can do a functional MRI, where we can actually put you in an MRI in real time and watch your brain. And we can give you heroin. We can give you cocaine. And the pleasure centers in the brain, like the nucleus accumbens, light up. We can give you sugar, and that same part of the brain lights up more. I've seen studies from 5 times to 12 times more just by eating sugar. So sugar is more addicting than heroin and cocaine. Can we agree with that? I don't know if anybody here is a heroin or cocaine addict, but I can promise you everybody here is a sugar addict, right? You're all guilty. I see the look in your eyes. Because when you stimulate those pleasure centers, ooh, baby, you want more. More is good. And so what's happening is you're stimulating those pleasure centers. You can't think logically. I was at a party 2 weeks ago with a friend of mine. She had 1 barbecued potato chip. By the end of the night, she had the bag of barbecued potato. Anybody guilty of that? I know you are. Okay?
No, I have 6.
Not you. What?
I have 6.
You have 6 bags. Okay, good.
6 chips.
Oh, 6 chips. Yeah, 6.
That's chip abuse.
That's chip abuse, yes. So she knew she did wrong. She felt bad. I don't know, if she was Catholic, she probably did a couple of Our Fathers and Hail Marys. And she felt awful. 2 nights ago, we were at another party. And she looked at me and she said, I'm going to have 1 chip. Watch me. Whole bowl of chips. Gone. Now, this is a very intelligent woman. This is a woman who keeps herself in very good shape. She's very attractive. Once that nucleus accumbens is stimulated, logic goes out the window. So I want you to understand that just like being an alcoholic, I don't want you eating sugar because once you start, it's really hard to stop. It's that way for me, it's that way for everybody because it's how the brain works. So I don't want you to tempt the brain. If anyone's ever been to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, one of the things alcoholics can't do is what? Drink, have alcohol. Why? 1 drink, they're off the wagon. You're like that with sugar. So you got to cut out, you got to think of yourself as an addict and say, I can't have sugar. Okay? And when I talk about sugar, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. Now you might be able to eat a little bit of it, and I'm going to give you a little test today. And if you can't pass this test, you got to avoid your sugars. Okay? So sugar is the thing that's going to blow out the immune system to weaken you the most. Meats and dairy products, hardest thing to digest, are animal products. Now, if I had a pill, and I can give you this pill, and this pill would add 11 years to your life, and it would if you had heart disease, in a majority of patients, it would reverse, would somewhat reverse or totally reverse heart disease. Same pill. And it's going to add 11 years to your life, and you're going to save a ton of money in the process. Would you buy that pill? Say yes.
Sure.
Don't lie to me. Okay. Okay. And I could probably charge almost whatever I wanted, and you'd pay for it. You're going to give me 11 years for a pill? Yeah, I can go work 11 more years and make my money back. That's a good idea. Well, guess what? There's a diet that does that. Majority of patients reverses heart disease, helps patients with diabetes, heart cancer, osteoporosis, high blood pressure, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and it's all the same diet. And that diet is a plant-based diet. So if you start thinking when the holidays come around, am I going to be tempted by the spare ribs and the meatballs and the Swedish little treats? And yeah, you're going to be. But I want you to think what I just told you. I'm giving you this pill for free. No charge. And you're going to save a ton of money. So I want you to think about this to be your own doctor through the holidays. Some of you will listen to me. Some of you won't. The ones that don't, I want you to remember what I said today. And when you're sick, I want you to say, Dr. Joe was right. Okay? And then I can say, I told you so. Because it's how the body works. It's not a secret. You're no different than him, than her. This is how the body works. And if you understand how to, if you get an owner's manual and know how to use it, you're in good shape. So plant-based diet is really the way to go. So you want to stay away from the meats and the dairy products. Now, I'm also a realist. If you're not going to listen to me, some of you will, some of you won't. If you're not going to listen to me, here's my negotiation. This is not permission, it's negotiation. If you're going to eat animal products, I want you to eat organic only. The reason is, when we were kids, everybody in here is old enough to remember that we didn't have the steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides, tranquilizers, genetically modified foods, weed killers in our food supply like we have today. And the animals eat these foods and concentrate the toxins in their fat cells. So if you're going to eat animal products, organic only, or don't eat them. This is my 30-year anniversary for being a vegan. I've never missed a meal. I have to watch my weight constantly because I gain weight. I save a ton of money. And I've never been anywhere where I couldn't get something to eat. You're not going to starve, I promise. So I want you to think about that. When you put foods in your... I'm 107 years old. And no man's ever lied to you, right? No man's ever lied to you, ever. So it works. It really does. My brain works fine. My body works fine. I had my blood test done. I had a full body scan a couple of months ago. The doctor said you have 0 plaquing in your arteries. It's unbelievable. At any age, much less somebody your age. Blood pressure's low. I give blood. They always look at my blood and go, your blood is so red. We've never seen blood this red before. It's normal blood. It's not average blood. It's normal. Big difference. Average is what everybody else has. Normal is what you should be. So normal is better than average. And that's what I want you to get in your mind. So if you're going to eat animal products, organic only, or don't eat them. And the best thing is if they're not available at the party, then you won't eat them. Follow? So being your own doctor is really easy. Now here's a trick I want you to consider is when you go to a party, when you go to some place that you're not sure what the food supply is going to be, eat before you go. And then you're not hungry, and then you can be logical. You can think. Because when you're hungry, you want to stimulate those pleasure centers. Remember the nucleus accumbens? When that nucleus accumbens kicks in, logic goes out the window. So have a little snack before you go. Okay? So those are the 7 foods I want you to consider avoiding when you get into your body. Now, what do? How do I be my own doctor? I like to stimulate my immune system throughout the winter to make sure it stays strong. One of the things I think everybody should add to their diet is this. Vitamin D3. All of you, statistically, I'm assuming I'm right on this, I don't have your blood work in front of me, are low in vitamin D. If you get a prescription for vitamin D, they'll give you 50,000 international units, but it's vitamin D2. Vitamin D2 has to convert into vitamin D3, and it's not very efficient. Taking vitamin D3 is where you want to be. D3 helps stimulate the immune system. I take 5,000 international units every day. I think you should too. It's really cheap, and it's really effective. And vitamin D is not just for immune system, it's for building bone, it's for brain function, it helps prevent cancer. I mean, every week I think we're coming out with new things that vitamin D does. In the summer, go out in the sun. If you get out in the sun, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day, and you're white skinned, you're fine. If you're dark skinned, you might have to go out 25, 30 minutes a day. In the winter, everybody needs 5,000 IUs, international units of vitamin D3. I like this brand, Bluebonnet, because they use a vegetable capsule. I don't like gelatin capsules because gelatin is high in glutamic acid. Glutamic acid, when it gets into your brain, causes your brain to fire faster than it's supposed to, and it's called an excitotoxin. It burns out your brain cells. Okay? So I like this one better. It's relatively inexpensive. I take 5,000 units a day. Everybody here can do 5,000 units a day. Take it with something fatty. An avocado, olive oil, nuts, olives, because fat is going to help it absorb more efficiently and get more bang for your buck. I also take something in the winter called Dr. Joe's Immune Booster. These are herbs that stimulate your white blood cell production. Echinacea, pau d'arco, olive leaf extract, suma root. And when I take this every day, it stimulates my immune system. This does have a little bit of alcohol in it. So if you're an alcoholic, don't take this. If you're not an alcoholic, this stuff is great. Stimulating the immune system. Let's assume you get sick. How do you be your own doctor? Number one, I want you to create a fever. If you're sick, if you have a virus, the body creates a fever. If it's a bacteria, your body doesn't create a fever. That's how you know if it's a cold or a flu. If there's a fever, it's a viral infection. Drugs don't work on viruses. We got a problem. And in fact, if you even look at things like the flu vaccine, I just saw this the other day. The insert for the flu vaccine, one of them, it clearly says this, something along the lines is, research has shown there's no proof that this helps prevent the flu. It says it right on the insert. There's no research showing it can help prevent the flu. So if you get a virus or a cold, I recommend raising your body temperature. How do you? What? People have claimed many times they get the flu after a flu vaccine. Yes. So what you can do is raise your body temperature. Take a hot bath. It's very simple. When you start feeling a little cold and flu or a little achy, runny nose, get in the hot water. Your body temperature raises, kills off the viruses. You're creating an artificial fever. If you're lucky enough to have access to a steam shower or a sauna, far infrared sauna, that's excellent too. Most people don't have that, so you could just take a hot bath and raise the body temperature. If you do get sick, sometimes it's viral, sometimes it's bacteria. Wouldn't it be cool if I could invent a pill that I gave you and it could knock off viruses, germs, and bacteria without damaging your immune system or the bacteria in your colon? Wouldn't that be an amazing pill? Wouldn't that be something you'd want to, everybody should take? Well, there is that pill. It's not a pill. It's called garlic. Garlic, olive leaf extract. These are antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. Sometimes, many times, we have a fungal infection in our body. We have what's called a systemic yeast infection. And a systemic yeast infection weakens the immune system. Remember, we only have so many warriors to fight? And so what's happening is we're attacking the sugar, and then we're attacking the meat, and then we're attacking the cold and flu viruses, and then we're attacking the food that you ate because it caused an inflammatory reaction in your bowels, and you just run out of warriors. Garlic is antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. Coconut oil, same thing. Olive leaf extract, same thing. And so that's something that you might want to consider adding to your repertoire in the winter. Now, if you're going to eat garlic, here's the thing. Taking a clove of garlic and swallowing it does no good. Taking a clove of garlic and chewing it and swallowing it does a little bit of good. But in order to make garlic work, you have to smash the garlic. Put it through a garlic press, smash it with a knife, and let it sit for about 5 minutes. Because the chemicals in garlic have to interact with each other in order to become potent. So years ago, I used to make this concoction. And it was ginger, which is anti-inflammatory, which you want when you're sick. Garlic, which is antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal. Horseradish, which is opens up your sinuses, right? Here's a little trick for you, too. If you ever get a stuffy nose, eat some horseradish. What happens? Clears you right out. Opens up your sinuses. And that's what you're shooting for, right? So horseradish is a little quicker, cheaper, and less toxic than certain medications. Okay? So ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper is a vasodilator. It opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation. Onion has something in it called quercetin. Quercetin is a natural antihistamine. And then garlic we talked about. So if you can take ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic, I used to do this, and I puree that in an apple cider vinegar. And it was nasty. Okay? Talk about a nasty flavor. And I'd let it sit, and whenever I started feeling a little under the weather, I'd take a tablespoon of this slurry slop. And then I'd do what I call the cold and flu tonic dance. It was nasty. So, but it worked. So what I used to do is I'd give it to my patients, and then I found out that's illegal. I can't do that because I don't have a food vendor's license. So what I did is I created something called Dr. Joe's Cold and Flu Tonic. So this is it. This is a purified, concentrated version of it. It's nasty. I'm not going to lie to you. But does it work? Oh yeah, does it work? A lot of heads nodding out there. I see you people have tried it. A lot of pilots carry this with them, flight attendants, people that travel a lot, because when they start feeling under the weather, bam. The directions say 1 to 2 dropperfuls in water or juice 3 times a day. I would say take it right down your throat, if you can handle it, every hour. It's pretty cool stuff. Okay? So, we got to keep the immune system healthy and strong, and you can do that with certain herbs. But the key really is not just the herbs and the spices and the supplements, is stop weakening your immune system. That's how you do it. And so pick the right choices, eat the right foods, stay away from the bad foods. It's not hard, it's easy, it's just different. And I go to a party, and instead of having a glass of wine or a margarita, I'll have a glass of seltzer. Maybe I'll get crazy, put a twist of lime in there. Woohoo! You know? And you know, no one has ever, in all the years, I stopped drinking when I was 28 years old. Not that I was a big drinker, I just didn't like the way it made me feel. I hadn't had a drink since I was 28 years old. I've been to hundreds, probably thousands of parties. I don't drink. Nobody cares. No one will care if you don't drink. I promise you. In fact, it's cool not to drink now. It's pretty hip. So you don't have to worry about what's the social stigma with it. There is none. And if you get pulled over, how much does it cost now for DUI? Estimated cost? $10,000. By the time you figure the increase in your license and the time lost work and hiring a lawyer and going to court and paying the fine, and it's about $10,000 to get a DUI right now. Okay? So it's not worth it from a financial standpoint, and it's not worth it from a fiscal standpoint. So you got to make wise decisions so you have enough money to retire. And I don't want to spend $10,000 on something silly like I just had too many drinks. It's just not smart. And alcohol also weakens your immune system because it's a sugar. Alcohol also lowers your testosterone. Going off on a tangent here. Alcohol lowers your testosterone levels. Testosterone is not just your romance hormone, but it also builds muscle. And not just your biceps and your triceps. Your colon is a muscle. Your blood vessels are a muscle. Your brain has blood vessels in it. So you want to keep the blood vessels strong and the muscles strong by keeping the testosterone high, and you'll blow it out if you drink alcohol. So it's not a good idea. So there's 1,000 different reasons not to drink alcohol. But I'm giving you several of them now to be your own doctor. So a lot of the things I'm teaching, you kind of see a pattern here, is not so much what to do, it's what not to do. And that's the beauty of nutrition. Eating well is not active necessarily, it's passive. You have to not do things in order to get healthy. So I don't know how to make it easier. I'm going to have you not do something. Okay, I can be that lazy. I could not do something. And it's really neat. All right, let's go on to a couple other tricks. If you get headaches, of foods, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener. What do you think is the #1 cause of headaches? Alcohol, artificial sweetener. Artificial sweetener, aspartame. #1 side effect of aspartame is headaches. So many people use artificial sweetener and don't even know it. Every day in my practices, patients come in, excuse me, and they say, I never use artificial sweetener. And I'll see a woman's purse over there and it'll have some mints in it. And I'll say, what's in those mints? What's in that gum? Well, nothing, it's sugar-free. Well, why do you think it's sweet? Aspartame. Sucralose is another artificial sweetener. Sucralose stimulates your estrogen receptor sites. Estrogen is the hormone in your body that counteracts testosterone, but estrogen also causes you to lay down fat. Fat produces estrogen. When I went to school a couple hundred years ago, We thought fat was a blob. Now we find out that fat is a living, breathing organ. And you're growing this organ bigger and bigger every time you put on weight. I used to be extremely overweight. I used to fill out this skin, okay? So I can use the F word. I used to be fat. And I totally get the food addiction. We talked about that earlier. And you have to get those fat cells down so that you stop producing so much estrogen, because estrogen causes you to gain weight and you get stuck in a cycle. It's really hard to lose weight once you're heavy. Estrogen also causes abnormal cell growth. What do we call abnormal cell growth? Cancer. And where do we get estrogen from? Well, our body produces it, but there's also chemicals called xenoestrogens. Xenoestrogens are, xeno means foreign, xenophobia, fear of foreigners. Xenoestrogen is 300 to 600 times stronger than human estrogen. And where do we get xenoestrogen from? Hairsprays, perfumes, colognes, dryer sheets, new car smell, air fresheners, carpet cleaners. Those unnatural smells are all xenoestrogens. They're called phthalates, and phthalates are xenoestrogens. Candles. So you're going to go out for a holiday party, and you're going to say, I want my house to smell like pine, or elves, or whatever you want it to smell like. I don't know. And I don't know what elves smell like. Elves? I don't know. Trying to think of something holiday. And you put out these scents. What you're doing to you and your guests is putting yourself a xenoestrogen into your body. Very, very dangerous. If you want things to smell pretty, clean it. And you could use something called essential oils. Essential oils are fine. I just grabbed a bottle for fun. This is peppermint. Take essential oils. You can do a couple of things. If you have a light bulb, put it on a light bulb. A couple of drops. Not when it's on, because it'll blow up. Put it on when it's cool. Turn the light on. And as it heats up, it'll let it go. You have diffusing rings. You can buy them. It's a little ring. You sit it on top of the light bulb. Put some essential oils in it. Much better choice. Okay? So essential oils are going to solve a lot of your problems. And that's going to give you that fresh smell then. But please don't use the artificial smells, because they're so dangerous. And they're so bad for you. Now, another trick that I like to do is I want to keep the mind healthy. And as your doctor, and I'm teaching you to be your own doctor, I want to make sure your brain is working the best it possibly can, right? It's a good idea. And as we get older, we do forget things, and our body does get weaker. But we can fight that, and we can win. So a couple of things your brain needs. It needs vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. It needs the proper nutrients to work. It also needs circulation. And one of the big problems we have as we get older is lack of circulation, whether it's to your romantic parts, or your arms, or your legs, or your brain, or your eyes. And so your body produces something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. And it's awesome. When our nitric oxide levels are high, our body is working at a much higher level. You have more energy, your brain works better, it can help your vision, it's great. But if we're going to go poisoning ourselves with things like high fructose corn syrup, after about 20 grams, converts into uric acid. Uric acid is a waste product. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. Many of you, I am your chiropractor. If I'm not your chiropractor yet, I hope I have the opportunity to be your chiropractor someday and put together a health care plan for you. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. And so people come to me and say, Dr. Joe, you and your team of doctors are like the best guys in the world, and I feel great when you treat me. However, I'm just not getting the results I want. And I'll look at their diet, and essentially 100% of the time, I'll say you're putting too much, or putting any high fructose corn syrup in your body. High fructose corn syrup converts to uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. You got to help me. And when they do, they see the results that they want. Most cases. Uric acid prevents the body from producing nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. Remember I said a lot of what I'm teaching you is not to do, but what not to do? You got to cut out the high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is evil. Sugar is bad. High fructose corn syrup is regular sugar is about 50% glucose, 50% fructose. High fructose corn syrup, this is going to be on YouTube, by the way, so you don't have to write all this down.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, I'm going to post this probably tomorrow. Okay, so we'll post it tomorrow. It's up there. See? You can pay attention. See that? Yeah. That's why we videotape it.
That's right.
So, high fructose corn syrup 55% fructose, 45% glucose. But you're thinking to yourself, but Dr. Joe, it's the holidays, and I want to make sweets and treats for my friends. So I'm going to use something natural as a sweetener, like, oh, I don't know, agave nectar? Agave nectar is 85% fructose. High fructose corn syrup is 55%. Agave nectar is 85%. Substantially worse than high fructose corn syrup. Wow. Pooh, brain exploded just then, didn't it? Yeah. So just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good for you. Following that, and the reason it doesn't spike your blood sugar, because that's the selling point, doesn't spike your blood sugar. The reason it doesn't spike your blood sugar is because it has to go into the liver and get converted into glucose. Regular glucose goes right into the blood. So you take your high fructose corn syrup and your agave, you test your blood sugar. Oh, it didn't spike my blood sugar. It must be good. No, it's causing slow damage, much more damage. But you got to cut out the high fructose corn syrup because it's going to blow out your immune system and it's going to prevent proper circulation. So little trick you can do. And I'm going to teach you some things you can eat to keep yourself healthy and some supplements I'm going to recommend. A little trick you can do, and I just thought about this before the lecture, is add beet powder. About a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of beet powder every day to your diet. Now you can buy it in a drink already. It's about $2 or $3 a can. This is a lot cheaper. Don't buy a lot. It's just very light. It's a powder. It's $30 an ounce. Or $30 a pound. An ounce. I'm thinking I'm back in high school here now. Some of you got that. But I catch you guilty ones now. Okay, so I know. I can see the giggles. When I get the giggles, I know what you're thinking. So the beet powder, but it's so light. It's relatively inexpensive. But this is a neat little thing to add to something like your smoothies, because it's going to increase. And what you want to do with it is when you put it in your mouth, whatever you're eating it in, just swish it around for a second. And when the saliva meets with the nitrates in the beet powder, it creates nitric oxide. Opens up your blood vessels. It's great for brain function, romance, if you've got cold limbs a lot, circulatory issues. It's really a neat little trick you can add. Okay, so that's just a little fun thing. Now, when I said your smoothies are great. But there's a problem with smoothies. Number one, everybody uses way too much sugar. I'm going to have 5 pieces of fruit, and I'm going to add high fructose corn syrup to it, and I'm going to add agave nectar to it, and I'm going to add coconut milk to it, which is sweetened. And that's why if you ever go to one of these stores that sell smoothies, these smoothie shops, and you go, how come mine never tastes this good? Because they're like almost, no, I'm not going to say all sugar, but a lot of sugar. And sugar stimulates what part of the brain? Remember the name of it? Nucleus accumbens? There's a quiz on this later. Okay. The nucleus accumbens get stimulated, it releases serotonin. It's a pleasure center in your brain. You're getting high from it. And again, if I'm selling a product, I want you to buy more of it. How can I get you to buy more of it? I'm going to stimulate your nucleus accumbens. And nucleus accumbens is going to say, I want more of that because it got me high. And you want that pleasure. Following? Okay. So to make a smoothie, the problems that I always found was you have to buy the stuff. You have to wash it, clean it, puree it. Goes bad, you throw it away, you forgot to buy some, I don't have any in my house. So what I did was several years ago, I said, what can I make? Somebody asked me the question, what's the world's ultimate supplement? And I said, if somebody could take fruits and vegetables like a smoothie juice and put it in a powder or a pill, that would be the perfect supplement. It's quick, it's easy, it's cheap, it doesn't go bad. Wouldn't that be great? See how I'm leading you down the road on every one of these? So I created something called Dr. Joe's Essential Source. 1 scoop of this is about 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables. We juice it, take the water out at a very low temperature. What's left is a powder. We take that powder, then I add prebiotics, which feed the bacteria in your colon, probiotics, which are the bacteria in your colon, and are 70% of your immune system is in your colon. And then I add a complete multivitamin, and digestive enzymes. And so I created this because I said I got to create the ultimate supplement. And I wanted to put it in a pill because I thought that would be easier. And I tried, but you'd have to take a handful of pills to equal a scoop of this stuff. And it's cheaper to leave it in a scoop. So I said, how can I make this affordable and functional? And that's why I made Dr. Joe's Essential Source. I believe everyone should take Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And Mary will tell you that if we ever run out of it, you think we killed a baby. People come in the office screaming and yelling and jumping up and down. They call her on the phone and start screaming, and where's the essential source? And why come it's not here? And I ran out of it 2 days ago. It really is that good. Okay? So I recommend everybody try that. I think it's great. And then most people, when we talk about being your own doctor, you acidify your body all day, every day. You put too much acid in your body. Now, what are acid foods? Do you remember them? 7 deadly sins. Alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Those are all the acid foods. And the body doesn't like acid, but guess what? Diseases love acid. Cancer, heart disease, osteoporosis. Traditionally, I can't say everyone, but everyone I've ever tested, is very acidic when they're in a disease state. When we alkalize the system, the immune system works more efficiently, and now you become your own doctor. Because you alkalized your system. Just that simple. And so some of the most alkalizing foods there are: wheatgrass, barley grass, alfalfa grass. And again, the same thing. If we juice it and take the water out, it's a powder. You don't have to store it. You don't have to refrigerate it. You don't have to clean it. So I did that when I made Dr. Joe Super Greens. And then we added chlorella and spirulina. One of the supplements that I recommend people take is omega-3 fatty acids. Where do you get omega-3 fatty acids from? What's the most popular place? Fish. Exactly. Well, here's a little fun fact for you. Fish don't make omega-3 fatty acids. Fish get it from eating smaller fish, who eat smaller fish, who eat algae. Algae produces the omega-3 fatty acids in the ALA and DHA form. The DHA and EPA form, I'm sorry. DHA and EPA are the forms, don't worry about the chemistry, are the forms that you need to utilize in your body. If you're on a plant-based diet, which I am, you can get omega-3 fatty acids from lettuce. You can get it from flax seeds, walnuts. There's plenty of sources of omega-3 fatty acids from plants. The problem is they're in the ALA form. ALA has to be converted into DHA and EPA. Most people don't do a good job of that. So I recommend you take, we talked about vitamin D, I recommend you take omega-3 fatty acids as well. And the best form of the omega-3 fatty acid, the purest form, is algae. I put algae in the super greens. And then I add dulse. Dulse is seaweed. What's seaweed high in? Iodine. Statistically speaking, almost all of you are low in iodine, because we in the United States don't eat enough iodine. And the best source of iodine is sea vegetables. How many people eat sea vegetables every day? I would say none. A giggle, right? Like ever. Right? How about that? Yeah. Maybe sushi with a little wrap around it. That's the only time you've ever eaten sea vegetables, right? So I add it to these super greens. And I take a scoop of these super greens and a scoop of the essential source every single day. Sometimes I'll add some beet powder to it. And so people say, what do you do, Dr. Joe? I want to do what you do. You've got all the knowledge. I want to do what you do. I don't have to know it. I just have to know what you do. And it's very simple. First thing in the morning, scoop of super greens, scoop of essential source. I usually use coconut milk. I like coconut milk. But whatever on sale, coconut milk, almond milk, whatever on sale, I'll buy. I put it in a jar, shake it up because it doesn't have a lot of preservatives, doesn't have a lot of anti-caking agents. So you have to shake it a little bit. It takes a little work. Not a lot. I mean, you shake it 10 times. And then I drink it down. If I'm going to do a radio show, if I'm going on a date, if I am going to work out, if I'm going to do a lecture. In fact, before I came here, I had a second dose of super greens and essential source. I had one this morning because I recorded some shows this morning. I took another dose tonight. Stuff's amazing. It's relatively inexpensive. And the reason it's inexpensive compared to all the food is because shipping and storage and things going bad is what you're paying for. If you can ship it and store it, you're sneaking in, I'm in there. If you could ship it and store it inexpensively, prices go down dramatically. And that's why that's relatively inexpensive. So if you're going to be your own doctor, you've got to give your body at least the minimum nutrients that it needs every single day. The absolute minimum. Super greens and essential source. And that's what most people don't even give themselves that for a whole day's worth of food. That solves the problem. Okay? So being your own doctor is a neat little trick that you can do. Now, how many people, yes?
How much beet powder should go into that?
Half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon?
Half a teaspoon, try a teaspoon, get crazy. Woo-hoo.
Well, where can you get it to procure it?
Right there. Here, it's right here. You see it?
In the store here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can buy it prepackaged already. It's a little more expensive. If it's in bulk, it's a little cheaper. I shouldn't tell you all this because that's my stash. So, but I'm telling you, I'm letting you know my secrets because I'm teaching you how to be your own doctor. Okay? All right, let's see here. What else we covered? Sore throat. Anybody get sore throats all the time? Yep. Okay. Many times, sore throats are caused by acid reflux. You have a sheet of muscle called your diaphragm. Below your diaphragm sits your stomach. And when you eat food, there's a little sphincter, it's called the esophageal sphincter, and it opens up, and food drops into the sphincter and then into your stomach. The sphincter closes, food is digested, goes onto your small intestine and on its way. Well, the problem is many of us, and about 85% of my patients have this, the stomach is pushing up against the diaphragm. And now the stomach isn't digesting food properly. And so it can sit in the stomach too long, and if the food sits in the stomach too long, it can rot. And when it rots, it produces something called lactic acid. So now you can have hydrochloric stomach acid and lactic acid coming up into the throat, irritating the throat. And that can cause chronic cough. And about 2 or 3 times a week in my offices, patients come in with chronic cough. They don't know what it is. They've tried everything. They've been to every doctor in the world. And when we fix it, we pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. And it usually takes several visits. It's not a one-shot deal. When the stomach is stabilized below the diaphragm, the cough goes away. Why is it anything more than an annoyance? Because stomach acid into the esophagus can cause something called esophageal cancer. Not fun, usually deadly. Something as simple as acid reflux for years and years and years can lead to that. So that's why I like to fix the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. That's what I'm teaching you today, the cause, not the symptoms. Now, if you have a scratchy throat, I'm going to give you a symptom trick. You can use something called slippery elm tea. Slippery elm tea is really neat. I drink it every day. It's the tea I drink. When I wake up in the morning, I'll either have slippery elm tea or ginger tea. And slippery elm tea is very soothing to the mucous membranes. The colon, the throat, bowels, the rest of the bowels, very soothing to that. So slippery elm tea is kind of a fun trick. Some brand names are Throat Coat, Sore Throat, I can't think of it. Throat Coat's one of the brand names. Anyway, it's a neat little trick you can do. Okay? Garlic, again, if I get a scratchy throat, I'll take the cold and flu tonic and just drip it down the back of my throat. Antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, vasodilator. It's really neat stuff, and it helps real well. Because I hate sore throats. Sore throats and headaches, those are the 2 things I hate. Okay? Now, sometimes when you have a headache, you're constipated. Because your job is to eat food, it goes into your stomach, goes into your small intestine, goes into your large intestine, and passes out. What's normal bowel function? How many times a day? 3. 2 to 3 times a day. Not a week, I know. Not a week, not a month, a day. Anybody ever have babies? Anybody ever was a baby? Okay, was a baby. Just check it, okay? You remember babies? Food in, food out, food in, food out. And you thought to yourself, how did this little thing fill up that many diapers, right? Because babies' digestive system's food in, food out, food in, food out. And yet for us, it doesn't work that way. We put food in 3 days later, 5 days later. And the food's going to sit in the colon and it rots. And when it rots, it causes an inflammatory reaction. And I did a radio show a couple of weeks ago, a really great show, and it was on depression and how depression can be linked to inflammation. And if you have an inflammatory bowel condition, that inflammatory condition can go throughout the body, cause inflammation of the brain, and lead to depression. And so if you're eating bad foods, the food's rotting in your colon, causing an inflammatory reaction, which now can affect your moods. And you want to be your own doctor. I want to not only physically be your doctor, I want to mentally help you. And then physically, mentally, and chemically. Those are the 3 things we want to address. So if the bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day, what I suggest is you eat more vegetables. Because vegetables are high in fiber. Meats and dairy products, animal products, have 0 fiber. And what happens is, this is how your bowels work. You eat something, it gets into your bowels, and it starts to swell up the bowels. And the bowels swell and swell and swell until they trigger something called a stretch receptor. Stretch receptors are nerves in the bowels that cause the bowels now to contract. And then you go to the bathroom. But if you're not putting enough fiber in, you're not activating the stretch receptors, and you're not causing the bowel function. So what I did is I created something called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser. I had a patient come to me, she was having 2 to 3 bowel movements a month. She was 16 years old, parents had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they came to me and they said, we're going to take her to Cincinnati and they're going to do one final test on her. And it's going to cost us $10,000 plus travel expenses. And if they find that her bowels are not contracting, they're going to give her a drug. And I said to the parents, why don't you just give her the drug? Save the $10,000, and if it works, then you know what it was. If it doesn't work, you know what it's not. And they went, well, that's a good idea, isn't it? So they brought her in. I did chiropractic work with her. I did colon massage. I pulled the stomach down. Her bowels are moving 2 to 3 times a week. Good stuff. Not enough. So I created something called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleansing for her. I didn't do this for you guys. I did this for her. She started taking it 2 to 3 times a day. She took it for a while. Now she's perfectly normal. Everything got back to normal. Parents are happy. She's happy. Well, other patients heard about it and they wanted it. So now we have Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser. It's really cheap. I think it's like $20 for, I don't know, 100 pills, I think. I would say if your bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day, take 1 tonight. If the bowels don't move normally tomorrow, take 2 tomorrow night. If the bowels don't move normal next day, take 3 the next night. Don't take more than 3. Trust me. Had a patient take 6 one time. She was mad at me. So what are you mad at me for? I told you not to do it. Somehow it was my fault. So that's another thing to get the bowels moving. And again, my goal is with the Super Greens, the Essential Source, take that forever. The bowel stimulator, the intestinal cleanser, I don't want you taking that forever. I just want to get everything jump started. And you got to fix the nerves too, because the nerves in the low back control the colon, sex organs, and bladder. So if you have pinched nerves in the low back, we can give you bowel cleansers and fiber and everything, but if the brain can't tell the colon how to work, and those stretch receptors don't work right, it's not going to give you the full effect. And this is why chiropractic ties so well into everything I teach you in every seminar. Because the brain has to get message to your liver, your spleen, your colon, your gallbladder, your toenails, your earwax. Everything has to have nerve supply. And if bones are pinching nerves, you're blocking the messages from the brain to the body. One of the things that happens is pain. However, only 10% of your nerves feel pain. 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. These are the nerves that go to the organs. So this is why you can have a pinched nerve to your spleen, which can affect your immune system, which can be why you're sick all the time. You can have a pinched nerve to your pancreas, so the pancreas isn't working properly and you can't stabilize your blood sugar. You have a pinched nerve to your heart, which can affect blood pressure. Pinched nerve to your diaphragm, can't breathe properly. See how it all ties together? That's the missing link in healthcare. The missing link in healthcare is the nervous system. Everybody worries about the organs. No one talks about the wires going to the organs. And that's the missing link. And if you want to get well, you have to have the nervous system working, you have to have the digestive system working, and you have to have good nutrition. Okay? Neat stuff. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I covered everything. Well, low back pain, chiropractic care. Ear infections. If you have ear infections, it's usually a pinched nerve in the neck, the upper bone called the atlas. But to treat the symptoms, because sometimes you have to when you're in pain, you can get something called ear oil. And ear oil, you can buy it pre-made or you can make your own. It's usually like an olive oil with some garlic in it and maybe some other herbs, golden seal, and you put it right in the ear. And I've had patients with children screaming in pain, and patients themselves, and I'll tell them to get some ear oil, they'll put it in, 2 or 3 treatments, they're like, oh my gosh. Because now I'm not treating your whole body, I'm treating this, it's site-specific. Because one of the problems we have is if you take antibiotics, and I am not against antibiotics, please let me make a stand, I'm not against antibiotics, but if you take them on a regular basis, it can wipe out the good bacteria in your colon, which can weaken your immune system. And if you're eating animal products, commercial animal products, they're oftentimes fed mega doses of antibiotics. 70% of the antibiotics in this country are not used for humans, they're used for animals. So if you're eating animals that have been given antibiotics, you're putting these antibiotics in your body, slowly eating away at your colon and your immune system. Not a good idea, is it? That's why I said if you're going to eat animal products, organic only, or don't eat them. That's my rule. I don't eat them. But I understand if you're going to eat them, that's what I want you to do. Okay? We talked about the stomach, the digestive issue. You pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. I want to teach you something. I'm trying to keep this at an hour because I know everybody's butt gets a little wiggly after an hour. I want to teach you a little trick that you can do to increase your energy level. Anybody want to learn that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Most of us all day, every day use one side of our brain. I'm going somewhere with this, so follow me. The right side of your brain controls left side of your body, left side of the brain controls right side of the body. So most of us use one side of the body all day, every day, yes? we work the mouse, we talk on the phone, we open the car door, we zip our fly, we brush our teeth. We're using one side of the body. I'm right-handed, so I'm right dominant. So I'm stimulating the left side of my brain all day, every day. By the end of the day, my brain is not designed to be segregated. It's designed to be integrated. And when the brain is integrated, it works much more effectively for a lot longer. When you start to segregate the brain starts to shut down. So by the end of the day, you're using one side of the brain, the other side of the brain isn't getting stimulated, you'll get tired. So I'm going to show you how to reboot your brain. How's that sound? Anybody want to volunteer? Come on up. Don't mind being on camera. Come on up here, young man. Okay. So I'm going to show you a cool little trick that you can do to reboot your brain. And you can do this as soon as you get out of bed in the morning, and you'll be amazed how you won't even need a whole lot of coffee. Isn't that right?
Right.
All right. Let's have you stand here, young man. Put your arms straight out. Just one. You look silly with two. All right. Push up real hard. Push up hard. Okay. Nice and strong, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate a day in your life using one side of your brain and then the other. Not integrating, but segregating. I'm going to have you march in place. I'm going to have you march right arm, right leg, left arm, left leg. Can you do that? Good. Now keep doing it. This is wrong. And I'm doing it for a reason. I'm using one side of his brain and then the other, and then one side of the brain and then the other. So by the end of the day, if he's not integrating his brain, the brain, for lack of a better word, is going to short circuit the nervous system. As a chiropractor, I want to stimulate your nervous system, not short circuit it. And that's why with chiropractic care, we put the bones back in place, open up the nerve supplies. It helps great with pain, but it also gets the body working well too. Now you can stop. Watch what happens if we mess with his brain. Push up as hard as you can. Wow. Push up again. Okay, for the keys to her car. Ready? Okay. Here we go. Push up real hard.
Almost.
Isn't that wild?
Huh? Okay.
So in that 10 seconds, 20 seconds, I short-circuited your brain. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reboot your brain. Everybody want to do this together? Want to do this as a party? Stand up. Everybody stand up. What the heck? There we go. We're almost done, so I'm going to keep you hanging on for a second. I'm going to have you all march in place. We're going to have you march right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. Okay? Try doing it. If you can't do it, I'm going to tell you that you're switched, like you're switched. So bring this elbow to this knee. Right elbow to your left knee. There you go. Now, there you go. You got it. Good. Okay? Anybody else switched or crossed? We're good. Okay, you got it backwards.
I got it back.
Bring this elbow to this knee.
Oh.
There you go. Got it. Okay, think about it. If you see somebody doing it wrong, slap them. No, don't slap them. No. Okay, that's right, yeah. That explains why you're the way you are. Get all slapped around. All right, you can stop for a second. Watch what happens when we reboot the brain. This happened to every one of you. Push up real hard. Stronger than when we started. Isn't that awesome? Oh, you can sit down, thanks. Isn't that cool?
That is really.
So that's a little trick. I got a lot of tricks like that. I haven't done an audience participation in a few months now, so it's kind of fun. But what I want you to do, here's your thing. This is how you're going to start your day. Get up, get out of bed. I want you to walk to the bathroom, right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. Whoever you live with will think you're crazy, okay? But you do this on your way to the bathroom, because you're going to have to pee first thing in the morning. Pee. Start your day out with lots of water. You're supposed to drink a lot of water. Take Super Greens and Essential Source as part of your breakfast. And watch what happens. And if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, acid reflux, heartburn, come see me. And let's get it fixed. Because I promise you, if it's not better by now, it's not going to get better on its own. It's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And the biggest complaint, and I say this almost on every radio show, the biggest complaint I get from my patients is, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I suffer needlessly all those months, years, decades? When all you had to do was get the nervous system working, digestive system working. Every patient that comes in, I put together a dietary plan for them. I recommend supplements if necessary. And I like to own my patients for about 60 days. That's a general time I want to get my patients changing their lifestyle. After 60 days, I can cut you free, and maybe you'll need some maintenance chiropractic care from there and some maintenance coaching. But generally speaking, that's how quickly we can turn most people's lives around. Pretty cool. All right, right at an hour. Any questions?
Arthritis.
What?
Rheumatoid arthritis.
Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune condition. The body's attacking itself. So what we have to do is normalize the immune system or calm down the immune system. And the key is staying away from the 7 deadly sins. And basically this whole lecture was based on, it could have been a rheumatoid arthritis lecture. Okay? Question?
What is the name of the vitamin D3 that you have?
Vitamin D3, this brand name is Blue Bonnet. It's just a brand name. I have nothing to do with them, but they use a vegetarian capsule. That's why I like them. Now there's 3 different types. Fish oil, lanolin, and algae. The reason I said Blue Bonnet, I don't do the fish oil, of course. Lanolin comes from sheep wool. So if you're okay with doing sheep wool, the animal isn't killed by it, it's okay. If you want to do the algae oil, that's the best kind, but it's more expensive. Okay, so oftentimes I'll do the algae oil, but I want to talk about this because I understand sometimes there's a price constraint. But this is vital. It has to be gotten from the outside. More questions? Yes?
Yeah, I have one more. You mentioned something here about for menstrual cramps.
Yes. There's a trigger point in the foot. See if I can do this here. And it's right here where the ankle is, that bone. It's called the medial malleolus. Drop down and go back a little bit. There's a little ridge. And I can show you at the end of the lecture if you want. And you rub that point. And you rub that point for about 30 seconds. And you do both ankles and the cramps almost always go away. It's crazy how quickly it works. Don't do it to pregnant women. It can put them in labor. No kidding. If a woman is in labor, this helps facilitate the labor, but don't do it till she's in labor. Okay? Yes?
Fatty liver.
Fatty liver. The liver is the fastest healing organ in the body. So the good news is it's the easiest one to fix. And the way you fix the liver is stop polluting it. The second you stop polluting it, it starts to heal. Now, there are herbs you can take as well. Things like super greens, essential source, milk thistle. These will help speed up the healing process, but the liver is great. As soon as you stop polluting it, it starts to heal.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure, of course.
Okay. I have a problem called binge eating.
Binge eating, of course, we all do. What are you, special?
I thought it was.
Nope. No, once you start, the nucleus accumbens is stimulated, the pleasure center in your brain. The pleasure center kicks in, you can't think straight. And so you keep eating and eating and eating until you're so full. And there's a hormone that's produced in your stomach called leptin. Leptin is produced in your stomach, gets into your blood system, goes up into your hypothalamus, and your hypothalamus says that you're full. Okay? The problem is when you're binge eating, you're eating so fast and so much, you don't have time for the leptin to get to the hypothalamus. So when it comes to eating, any eating, this is how I want you to do it. Have a snack or a portion of your meal, wait 20 minutes. That gives this leptin enough time to get into the system, get into hypothalamus. Hypothalamus says you're full. The only time mine doesn't work is when my stomach is up against my diaphragm. And when I have my acid reflux, my heart's up against my stomach, I can eat, I'm hurting, I'm blowing up, it hurts so bad, and I keep eating. And then I know it's my stomach, I have to stop, walk away, get one of my doctors, pull my stomach away from my diaphragm, and usually within 10 or 15 minutes it's resolved. Okay? Question again, so yes?
Is there a place to go to find where the pressure points are for the different things?
Oh, you can go online and just look up pressure point charts.
And with garlic, I cook with a lot of garlic and onions. Is that the same benefit?
Nope, you got to eat it raw. Now cook with it, that's fine, but then add raw to it at the end. Okay, I'm not saying change your recipe, I'm saying just add more to it.
So what if we just add all the garlic at the end?
Perfect, that's even better. Okay, yes?
Do you have a supplement for a product for dry eyes?
A supplement for a product called dry eyes, yes. Coconut oil. Extra virgin organic coconut oil. What you can do is take about 2 tablespoons a day, eat it, and then at night I want you to just take some and rub it around your eyes. And you'll be amazed how quickly the eyes start to moisten themselves again. Take about a week or 2 before you start seeing any changes. Okay, and it's a lot cheaper. Yes?
I had extreme hair loss due to stress.
Yes.
To stimulate that.
Hair loss due to stress. You got to stimulate the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys. They're little glands about the size of walnuts, and they produce adrenaline, which gives you energy. They produce something called pregnenolone, which becomes DHEA, which becomes your sex hormones, which helps your hair grow. If you're under stress, you're not producing the sex hormones, you're producing cortisol. DHEA either becomes your sex hormones or cortisol. And so you produce a lot of cortisol, which is an inflammatory hormone, which clogs up your pores, which prevents the follicles from growing. So now we got to work on the adrenal glands to see if we can get that rebooted again. More questions?
What would you recommend as a good daily diet?
Daily diet. So what can I eat? I have a lecture on my website. It's called So What Can I Eat? And we talk about breakfast is always super greens, essential source. Usually that'll hold you over. For me, it holds me over till about 10, 11 o'clock. Then I'll have a couple of handfuls of nuts. I make my own hummus. It takes 5 minutes to make hummus, chickpeas, tahini, olive oil, garlic if you want to, olive oil and air-dried sea salt, a little bit of water, put it in a food processor. That's my snack. Lunch should always be a salad, or dinner should be a salad. You choose. I don't care which one, but one meal a day has to be salad only. And then the other meal, you can kind of shake it up and decide. But if you go to my website, on the website I have a link called So What Can I Eat? It's a free it's all my stuff on my website is free except for the products. You can read my articles. I archive hundreds of hours of radio shows. This is going to be on my website. Almost every lecture I've ever done in the past several years I videotape and put on my website. So it's tons of information. It's all free. It's my gift to you. Yes?
Is there anything to help lupus pain?
Lupus is the same thing that we talk about with rheumatoid arthritis. It's an autoimmune condition. And so once we stop putting the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener in the body, and we eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, the problem's solved. And in fact, it's a reason I wrote this book. Not because of lupus, but because people always say, what can I eat? First half of the book, that's me with hair. Can you see? First half of the book tells you how to change your diet. Second half of the book is well over 200 recipes. Everything in here, you can get at any grocery store. It's easy to make. I'll pick any recipe. You'll see how short they are. It's nothing fancy. I'm not a gourmet cook. I'm just a really good cook. And there's a lot of raw food in here. There's breakfast, lunches, dinners, desserts, brunch food, salads, gravies. I mean, it's really a great, great guide. And we have them here, so you can pick one up. And my new version's coming out with a more modern picture, so you might get the antique one. And I'll sign it for you, but here's the deal. I don't want you selling it on eBay. They sell for $65 a signed copy on eBay. Don't do that. They do. So you're going to buy a case of them. Oh, well, a case of books for you? Yeah. Yes?
What's the safest sweetener that you can use?
Stevia.
Okay, I thought so.
That was it. As a finally a question with one word answer.
Yeah.
Pure stevia, yes.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I was going to ask you about the stevia, but you answered.
Okay, good. More questions? Yes?
Bronchitis.
Yes, bronchitis. A good to break it up. The cold and flu tonic is great because it helps. It breaks up the phlegm. Slippery elm is also very good, and again, the hot baths is very good to open up the circulation. Okay? Yes, way in the back.
What's good for cholesterol?
What's good for cholesterol? You want to raise it or lower it? Normalize it. Best thing you can do is go to a plant-based diet. Again, I keep going to plant-based diet, and that stabilizes the cholesterol. New research out on drugs, and I'm not against drugs, I'm not a medical doctor, but the new research is showing that the risk of dying from moderately high cholesterol or moderately low cholesterol is about the same. So sometimes lowering cholesterol too much can be bad. But I can give you a whole lecture on cholesterol, but the bottom line is you got to get the liver healthy. The liver produces low-density lipoproteins, sends it out into the blood, it's utilized to make hormones and cell walls. What's ever left over gets recycled back into the liver, brought back to the liver through high-density lipoproteins, the good cholesterol, and the liver absorbs it or reabsorbs it, breaks it down, and passes it out. If your receptor sites, your recycling receptor sites are clogged, that high-density lipoprotein can't get into the liver, and so it goes back into the blood system. So what we're finding now, in many cases, it's just a clogged liver. Question? Same question. Okay. All right, we're good? All right, oh, one more. I'll take two more. How about that?
What can you do to help with osteoporosis?
Osteoporosis is a high-acid diet. Sometimes it's hormonal, but very rarely. I always find it's too much acid. It's not too little calcium. New reports coming out is that too much calcium is really dangerous. Oh, something I've been talking about for 30 years. Finally catching up to me. But it's usually not too little calcium, it's too much acid. When you put acid in your body, the body has to neutralize the acid. The body uses calcium as its primary neutralizing agent. And so when you neutralize the acids, you're wasting calcium. When you don't put acid in the body, you don't have to use the calcium to neutralize it. Okay, one more question, and then I'll be here to answer questions independently.
Stevia comes in liquid and powder.
Yes. Either one's fine. I like the pure stevia in the powder form. Yeah. Okay? Okay? All right. You can shut